Are you a fan of patchouli-based fragrances like myself? Because if you are, you're absolutely going to want to check out Louis Vuitton's take on it with Orage. Hey, what's going on everybody? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, hit that subscribe button down below and also be sure to follow my Instagram page. But that's right, I'm bringing you a review of another Louis Vuitton fragrance. I've been pushing out these reviews of these fragrances lately because I've been obsessed with this entire collection. Today, however, we are talking about Orage, which is one of my favorites because if you know me, I love patchouli. It's one of my top 3 favorite notes of all time, and this is a patchouli bomb. So before we talk about the scent of Orage, let's go over some information about it. So this fragrance was launched back in 2018. It was one of the original men's launches alongside 4 others. As far as the retail prices go, which have been increasing, you could pick up a 100 ml bottle like you see in hand for $300. So it is pretty pricey when it comes to obviously a designer brand like Louis Vuitton. However, what's nice about it is that once you go through your entire 100 ml bottle, you can take it back to a Louis Vuitton boutique and they can refill it for you for $105 off. So you get a refill bottle for $195 rather than $300. So I absolutely love that that's an option. And I wish more companies would actually include that. So the concentration is an eau de parfum, which is nice. So it's higher than like an eau de cologne or an eau de toilette. And the perfumer who's actually quickly becoming one of my favorite perfumers is Jack Cavalier, who's the in-house perfumer for Louis Vuitton. He's created every single one within the brand. And he's also created some fragrances for other brands like Tom Ford, Amouage, and many more. And he actually created one of my favorite fragrances from Tom Ford, which is Tuscan Leather. And that was actually my first higher end and niche quality fragrance that I bought probably around 4 to 5 years ago. All that information out of the way, let's go look at the packaging and presentation you get with Orage now. All right, now taking a look at the box that it comes in, it's like a recycled paper box, nothing fancy, nothing high quality about it, but it usually does come in that nice brown Louis Vuitton box that this sits inside of that you can see in the top left corner there. However, on here you do have the LV logo Orage, Louis Vuitton, eau de parfum, 100 ml bottle like I said. On the back you do have some of your information and ingredients. On the bottom is where you'll find your barcode and batch code to authenticate your product and see when it was produced. Now inside of the box, you do have that nice Louis Vuitton cylinder with that nice LV logo on top of that plaque right there. However, nothing else really going on with the packaging. So let's look at the bottle now. All right, taking a look at these bottles, which I absolutely love. They are very simple looking, but they're so classy and elegant. Of course, you have Orage with the Louis Vuitton embossed in the glass. On the bottom, you do have etched all your information as well. On top, you do have that gunmetal, which is in the men's collection, LV logo. The cap is very weighted and it is magnetic. And these are atomizers. I know a lot of people think these are dabs because of the way they look and you can't see the stem inside. Another awesome touch about these bottles is they are inspired by the first or one of the first Louis Vuitton fragrances ever launched back in the early 1920s, which I just found out about. So absolutely love these bottles. In the top, you have bergamot and grapefruit. In the mid, you have iris, heliotrope, and pepper. And in the base, you have patchouli, vetiver, isoe super, and white musk. And this would be classified as a green fresh. So let's go and spray this one and test out the atomizer on my test strip. Very nice distribution. Some of my favorite atomizers in the business. So let's go and remind myself of this opening of Orage. So right off the bat in the opening of Orage, you are hit with this very tart, bitter, green bergamot note, which is the main player by far. It does bring that greenness to the fragrance. I'm not getting any of that grapefruit. However, that isn't a complaint because the bergamot is done very nicely. I do also want to mention that these Louis Vuitton fragrances are very, very natural smelling. I don't really get any piercing or synthetic notes whatsoever like you usually get with designer fragrances. So these are absolutely in niche quality when it comes to the ingredients and notes used in these fragrances. And you can actually watch Jack Cavalier's interviews and stuff like that behind the scenes on how he creates these and everything like that. And it's very, very fascinating. So much goes into these Louis Vuitton fragrances, and that's why I'm a huge fan of this brand. Absolutely by far one of the best bergamot top notes I've ever smelled. It's almost watery, so juicy, so natural, and very green, with a little bit of tart and bitterness as well, which gives it a nice bite. Now, once you do make your way into the mid, after a while of it starts to dry down, you are greeted with this very nice, powdery, luxurious iris note, which Louis Vuitton talks a lot about in their description on their website with Orage. They pretty much mostly mention that bergamot and iris, which are definitely two of some of the most main players in this fragrance, at least from the opening and mid. But yeah, that iris is just so elegant, so luxurious smelling, and just gives it a nice kind of upscale feel when it comes to this fragrance. Now, along with the iris that comes into play is that pepper note. It is like a sort of like a black pepper note that I'm getting that brings a nice spiciness, which does give it a nice kind of depth to the fragrance, because obviously iris is a very soft, almost powdery, creamy kind of note. And so is bergamot. Bergamot isn't really piercing or anything like that, so it is nice to get a spicy kick in the backbone of this. Now, I know I've been talking so highly about the top and the mid, which are absolutely incredible, really well done. However, that base is where this fragrance absolutely shines, in my opinion. That's when you're greeted with this patchouli. Now, the patchouli in here is done very different than what I'm usually used to. Is like a very earthy, almost chocolatey like patchouli note. In here, you get a very fresh green patchouli. Nothing dirty, nothing earthy about the patchouli in here. Very clean and green. I love the way it's done. It is so incredible. Now, just because the patchouli isn't coming across earthy, you do get a slight earthy vetiver note that does make its way in, along with a burst of Isoe Super. Now, I know Louis Vuitton does use a lot of ambroxan. However, in this composition, they went with Isoe Super, which gives it a nice woodiness, a nice modern woodiness. I'm honestly a big fan of Isoe Super, and it also boosts the performance of this, which we'll always talk about a little bit later. Now, another note that is in the base is a special note used within Louis Vuitton's fragrances, and that's ambrette. It's like a vegetable ambrette, I believe was what they said, and it's only found in Louis Vuitton fragrances. It's not in any other fragrance whatsoever, is what Jack Cavalier said, and you definitely get this musky ambrette seed note in here. Just all in all, an absolutely stunning creation from Louis Vuitton that's very unique. I don't know any other fragrance that smells like this. No other patchouli fragrance smells like this at all. It definitely stands out a lot. Now, I know I talked a ton about L'Immensité, which is probably one of the most popular from Louis Vuitton, which I absolutely love and pretty much made that my signature scent. This one is basically tied at the #1 spot with L'Immensité. I can't really choose between the two. Honestly, this one probably almost suits me even more than L'Immensité as a signature scent. But I did get this one a little bit later because it was sold out at my Louis Vuitton boutique for a few weeks, but then finally got a bottle of it, and I'm so happy I did. Let's talk about the best seasons and occasions to wear Orage. Honestly, this is versatile to the core, guys. You can wear this one in the fall, winter, spring, and summer. Of course, the fall and winter, because it does turn a little bit earthy, a little bit green, musky, and woody in the base. But you can also wear in the spring and summer just because of that very nice citrus bergamot opening. You can just wear this one, like I said, all seasons without a problem at all. So if you're looking for a versatile fragrance, this is what I would definitely recommend, and probably the most versatile, along with L'Immensité from the entire LV lineup. So for occasions, it's also versatile in that you can wear this one dressed down, running errands, hanging out with friends, going to work at the office, but you can also wear this one dressed up, maybe on a date night, going to a wedding. If you're wearing a suit, a tux, a dress shirt, something like that, it will work perfect for as well. So all seasons, all occasions, this one just works. So if you're just looking to get one fragrance from the house of Louis Vuitton just to be worn all year, all seasons, all occasions as your signature scent, Orage is for you. Now let's talk about gender and age groups. This is definitely a male targeted fragrance. It does come across masculine. There's nothing really feminine about this at all by any means. So yeah, definitely the masculine side. For age groups though, I would say this one is pretty mature. A lot of Louis Vuitton fragrances that I reviewed and own are leaning slightly on the youthful side. This one though is one of the more mature fragrances within the house as well, just because of how green, earthy it is, how tart and bitter also from that bergamot. There's nothing really youthful about this. I mean, if you're a younger guy, you could still pull this one off, but in my opinion, out of the two, it's definitely more mature and probably suited for somebody in their 20s and up. It does have that kind of CEO, business, boss vibe about it. So if that's you, this one is perfect for you. Now, let's wrap things off talking on the performance. This one is without a doubt one of the better performers from Louis Vuitton. I would say about average performance on my skin, around 8 or so hours, maybe pushing a little bit above the 8-hour mark on skin. It's not below average at all. It will easily get you through a day, a work shift, whatever, without a problem. You don't need to reapply this one. Unlike some others from Louis Vuitton, like Afternoon Swim, which gets a ton of hype. I recently got that one. A review will be coming very soon. That one is lacking on the performance category. Orage, however, is not. The projection on this one is very solid for the first 2 to 3 hours, maybe an arm's length distance with a very nice scent sillage trail behind you. So trust me, people will smell this one when you walk by them. When they're in your kind of like scent bubble, they will detect it without a problem. So this one is long lasting. It will project off the skin very nicely. And that's obviously coming from that ISOE Super Burst in the base, just boosting the performance because obviously that is a synthetic molecule and that's usually what it's used for. Almost like a performance enhancer. A lot of fragrances even are molecule based with just ISOE Super to layer with others to boost the performance. So yeah, it does have a nice burst of that in the base that makes it last the 8+ hours on my skin. But that's gonna do it for the review of one of the best, in my opinions, from Louis Vuitton, Orage. Let me know down below if you actually ever tried this one, if you tried any from Louis Vuitton, because honestly, I think Orage is extremely underrated. It gets looked past, obviously, L'Immensité, Afternoon Swim, Imagination even, but Orage is one of the hidden gems and one of the best from the collection. So leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe down below if you guys haven't already, and I'll see all of you back here in my next video. So take care, everybody.